Hi, my name is Catherine Bogle, and you're watching my Season 4 premiere review on Two Swords. So first of all, welcome back, guys. It's been a fucking long-ass while. The last video I did was my predictions video for Game of Thrones, and seems like I haven't talked to you guys in like 3,000 years or less. So the first change I wanted to note is I know some people were asking about Game of Thrones Monday. Due to my work schedule now, Game of Thrones Monday probably won't be possible almost every week, so it's probably going to more likely be Game of Thrones Tuesday or Wednesday even some weeks from now on. So I've been saving all my goddamn excitement up about this episode for now. I've literally been trying not to freak out about Game of Thrones for so long because not a lot of people I know who I see on a regular basis watch it. So they can't freak out with me, and that's left it good, because I'm probably going to freak about this goddamn episode, this entire freaking video. So we get a nice, fresh new episode. I'm just going to delve right into it here. The only characters I think we missed an update on were Bran and friends, and Theon, and Stannis and all his peeps. So I think we pretty much caught up on everybody, at least most of the main players. And let's just jump right into this. So we start off with this gorgeous shot of this Valyrian sword as Tywin's pulling it out of its sheath, which looks to be a direwolf skin. So I assume it was Robb's sword, but I can't be sure. You guys can let me know in the comments, because I'm not completely sure. I actually forgot a lot of last season now. I really should have watched that 60-hour marathon on HBO. So obviously he's getting it reforged, and he gets it made into two swords, one who we later find out goes to Jaime, and the other who I assume is going to be a wedding gift for Joffrey. So you see the reforging happen, and then you see the direwolf pelt getting thrown into the fire, and then we just see a creepy-ass shot of Tywin's face through the fire. So, and then basically we cue opening music and the episode truly begins. So we come back to see Jaime and Tywin talking in what we assume is his office, and Jaime's looking handsome as usual and less dead, which is lovely. I assume it's been like a few weeks, which we find out later. It has been a couple weeks. So we get the Valyrian sword handed to him, and it's like friggin' gorgeous ass sword with this gold hilt, and it's just amazing. But so they have some lovely conversation. So poor Jaime's having issues with his hand still, obviously. I mean, he fucking lost a fucking hand. I can't even imagine, especially your right hand. I would just die. This is like my writing hand, my drawing hand, my everything hand. I'd be fucking pissed. And of course, Tywin's just being a jerk, and he wants Jaime to go back to fucking Castle Rock and take over there, and blah blah blah. And Jaime's like, you can't fucking control my life. I don't give a fucking shit if you're my dad. And yes, the expletives have begun. But Jaime wants to do the noble or honorable thing or whatever, and he wants to still be on the Kingsguard and look after Joffrey and stay with Cersei, obviously, which is, you know, the big ulterior motive for all this bullshit. Even though, like, she's a giant cunt later, excuse my language, but she's a fucking bitch. And Tywin saying the war is over, but they're kind of saying the war isn't over, and I love the comment about how many people in King's Landing want to throw Joffrey's head on a pike. All I could think of at that moment was how many viewers would love to see that. Way more than there are people in King's Landing. So Tywin, why do you feel like you just need to control everyone and be a general douche? I'd really love to know. So then we go to Tyrion, who's actually waiting to greet the Donish as they're coming in, and then they're fucking incredibly rude as hell, and there's just some interesting little quips in there. And I love how Oberyn, like, the Martell, they were basically specifically waiting for. It was like, no, I think I'm just gonna fucking go ahead in the morning, and I'm gonna just go to a whorehouse, you know, hang out. I just find I really, like, thought this scene was funny. Like, Tyrion was the most awkward I think I've ever seen him on this show. Like, it was just so funny watching him be really fucking awkward and try and, like, politically ease his way through this when that's not the kind of guy Tyrion is. Like, he introduces himself and is all kindly, and the other guys are just unnecessarily douchebaggy, basically. But then, anyway, it ends up like he goes off and they leave very rudely, and they have to go find Oberyn, who actually they mentioned something about the Martells and Lannisters not liking each other, which we find out later in the episode why they don't, so I'll wait till we get to that. So then we get to actually skip and meet Oberyn Martell, who is actually, honestly, so far this episode, like, watching just this one episode with him, pretty cool guy. Like, definitely, I see where he's coming from with a lot of stuff, but first impressions of him was, snazzy dresser and, man whore. And he goes and the first thing you see him doing is picking out a whore, which you originally think is for him, but then turns out to be for his, like, spunky girlfriend, who the fuck is she? Like, I forget her name, because I had people tell me. But what is her relation to him? Like, they make out at some points, but she calls herself a bastard. Like, are they related? Because then that's weird and incesty. Not like we haven't seen that before on the show. And then it looks like Oberyn may be into boys. But I kind of see with this one, he's pretty attractive. But then, before anything can barely even happen, aside from a few amusing moments, we hear a Lannister singing a song that sounds a little bit like The Rains of Castamere. You guys can verify in the comments what song it actually is, if you know. But basically, he's singing a song, and Oberyn's like, I'll fucking kill you. And it must have something to do more with just the Lannisters. I feel like it has something to do with what happened to his sister. But anyway, they all, run off to the room, and Oberyn gets all sassy and cool, and he just, like, fucking stabs the guy in the wrist. And then, of course, what does Tyrion walk into with this? So then Oberyn actually invites Tyrion to join them, but Tyrion's like, oh no, I'm spoken for, obviously, because he's married to Sansa, and not to mention Shae. But, so, basically, Bronn's like, I fucking partake. So this is when we have the really, like, sobering moment after all the shenanigans in the last scenes. Oberyn takes Tyrion out, and they have a little boy-to-boy chat here about Oberyn's sister. I think it was his sister Ilya who married Rhaegar, the last Targaryen king there, fucking crazy fuck. And basically saying, like, how he ended up leaving her for another woman, and then basically her life went to shit after that, and, like, in this moment I was just like, I fucking see why you hate the Lannisters. They are terrible fucking people to start with. Not to mention, they did this to your sister. Like, Tywin probably gave the order for the Mountain to rape her and then split her in half with a sword or whatever, and then her children were killed. Like, are you fucking serious? Like, you think Tywin is evil before this, and this is just, like, confirmation of how evil he is. And then comes the line, the Lannisters aren't the only ones who repay their debts. Oh, Oberyn, you're gonna cause some fucking drama, I can tell, but it's gonna be for the Lannisters, so I'm all for it right now. Like, honestly, Oberyn, have at it. Kill Tywin, kill Joffrey, even maybe Cersei, like, she's pretty fucking annoying. I wouldn't say, like, kill Jaime, or Tyrion, but the rest of them can do away with, so that's 3 for 3, have at it. And then it's Dany time. She's sitting with her babies on the rocks, and oh my god, like, the modelers, animators, the artist who made these dragons, friggin', like, my hat off to you. You guys are magical. Like, they look really sweet. Like, I know how much work goes into that. I know a lot of 3D animators, and I know how difficult that is. Like, you guys are just magical, all of you. But basically, we have the babies, and they're not really babies anymore, and they're flying around, fucking eating a baby goat. And then one of them gets sassy with mom. So, looking like the babies are getting pretty untamable now, as Jorah points out. Then we get another amazing look at the size of Dany's army, which is, like, ridiculously huge. And then we get to see a funny instance between Daario and Grey Worm, who are absent much to Danny's displeasure. They're actually gambling on for who can ride beside her and end up both walking in the back of the line because they're idiots. And then Jorah and Sir Barristan get to ride beside her, obviously. Like, what were you guys even thinking? But then I love, before she finds that out, she's walking through the crowds there with all the people to get to them. And I love how all the people are just calling her Misa, like, mother, over and over. It's so cute. I just love, like, that relationship, and I can't wait to, like, for them to expand on it this season. And then we roll back to King's Landing, unfortunately. Never seem to get enough of Dany in these episodes, but there's a lot to get in this episode. So basically we come back and Sansa is not eating. Shay's trying to get her to eat something, and Tyrion walks in and he tries to get her to eat something, but she doesn't want to, and she just kind of like is reeling still from the death of her mom and her brother. And I friggin' understand why. Like, that's friggin' traumatic for this girl who doesn't have anyone in the world anymore. And she's all alone, and now her mom and her brother are gone. Like, freaking traumatized. So basically we just get to find out a little bit more about what happened to their bodies, which, you know, cruel, brutal, everything. And then Shay's all displeased that Tyrion's talking to her alone, and then one of the other, like, of her servants or whatever they're called, she's obviously spying, and it turns out to be for Cersei, obviously, because Cersei's a fucking bitch. Tyrion goes back to his room to find Shay, you know, waiting for him, half naked, trying to seduce him, and he flat out denies her. Like, big hit to the ego. Like, that's brutal. But, like, I get why he does it. This is not the time for this shenanigans. There's way more things than she can even comprehend going on in his life right now. And she needs to calm down. But at the same time, Tyrion maybe needs to try and find a little more time for her. I know it's hard with all the present situations, but, you know. And then a little interesting bit that happened there that I noticed, I seem to remember there was something about Tyrion trying to ship Shay away before, or trying to ship her away. But I think that was due to someone else or something. But she brings that up now, and Tyrion acts like he has no idea what she's talking about, and I don't know if it's true or not. I actually completely forget. So if someone can, like, fill me in on what's happening, that would be great. But don't spoil anything. Then we get a look at Jaime getting his lovely, like, gold hand fitted there. And actually, as Cersei does put it, it is really elegant. I remember reading about it and watching a video about it on the Game of Thrones YouTube channel, and frig, it is a gorgeous hand piece. It's a little silly, but it's gorgeous. And he does kind of need something else there, and she's all repulsed by it and shit, because she's fucking asshole. Then Cersei mentions some other issue she's been having, which they don't tell us what it is, but then the guy's not a Meister, but he's like a doctor or something, and, you know, Jaime gets all jelly because she kind of leads on that something else is happening after a joke that he said, but then obviously no. And then basically, Cersei just rejects Jaime, too. Like, what's all this Lannister rejection happening? Thought you guys were, like, man whores before. Like, what is happening? And then, of course, Cersei goes over all the poor me events of her life. Oh, it's so hard. You had to sit in this castle. You had to worry about dying once during a raid on the castle. Oh, you poor baby. You have all your limbs. How do you survive? Fucking just ungrateful bitch is what she is, and I cannot believe she's being like that to Jaime, who just loves her so much that it's retarded. Like, Jaime, just kill her and run away. Go be with Bran or someone who's actually, like, worthy of your attention. And she actually even has the gall to say that he took too long to come back. Like, fuck you. Fucking bitch. Then the servant interrupts, and we never get to see what happens because we go over to the wildlings. So Ygritte is, you know, just angrily making arrows at the first of the episode. Well, the first of her scene, and then Tormund comes up, and he's all like, so, what you doing? Gonna shoot all the crows yourself? And she's, you know, pissed off about Jon still, and then there's comments about how she didn't kill Jon, but then they get interrupted by the Fens. I think that's what it was called. Those guys are friggin' interesting. They have cool scar things on their faces and all, but they seem like creepy. And they, like, at the end of the scene, like put like an arm on a pike. Like, guys are fucking weird. Not gonna lie, I didn't completely realizing they were talking about eating people until, like, you saw the arm on the pike. I was just kind of like, okay, you know, meat's better down here, and then arm. And I was like, okay, so you guys are cannibals. Cool. So then we get to skip to Jon, you know, speaking of crows. And poor Jon has just come back, and the world is just all gone to fucking hell. Like, it's all just fucking shit now. Like, 1 million people have died, and wars and shit. Like, how long has he been gone? Like, how much has he actually missed? I need to, like, watch the 3rd season again and see. Basically, it's sad. He has this moment of, like, recounting his jealousies of Robb, and then Sam confesses the same of Jon, which actually, I think, helps them relate more on, like, a brotherly level, obviously. And then Jon gets called into that dumb room to speak to the council, who are all suspicious of him, and he's just like, guys, like, fuck off. Like, here's the truth. Are you gonna kill me? Like, just fucking do it. And then the Meister ends up saving his ass, so. Woo. Like, he gave them plenty of info, so, like, just go fucking do something useful and stop interrogating Jon. He didn't fucking do anything. Except, you know, kill, like, their leader, but the guy literally made him, so fuck off. And then I love the Meister's comment there at the end, like, oh, well, how did you always learn to tell the truth? And it's like, I grew up in King's Landing, my boy. Like, yeah, you would fucking learn to see who's lying to you there. Then we get to skip to Marjorie and her grandmother, who I adore. Her grandmother's so fucking hilarious. She's great. And they're going over some jewelry bullshit or whatever, and then they send off the girls, and then Brienne shows up, and I just love the grandmother's reaction to Brienne. It's so funny. She's just like, oh, like, we've heard the stories, but I've never seen you. You are, like, amazing. Like, you were, like, a sight to see, and Brienne's just kind of like, so, can I talk to Marjorie? So Brienne and Marjorie go on a walk, and Brienne talks about how she wants to avenge Renly and stuff, and how Stannis did it, and how she's gonna avenge their king, and then Marjorie's all, Joffrey's our king now, and you can tell she's like, it fucking sucks, but Joffrey's our king, and Brienne's like, oh, yeah, yep, of course, yep, we should fucking get out of here now. Just the last thing you see is just this god-awful statue of Joffrey, like, burn it with fire. It is disgusting. It is hilarious. Like, he's just such a fucking tool. Like, ugh. At this point, I actually, like, forgot about Joffrey during the episode because I was so into what was happening with the other characters. In that moment, I was like, oh god, we haven't even seen him yet. Like, fuck, what has he been up to? What douchery are we gonna have to see from this friggin' little fuck? So, right on cue, Joffrey's ignoring his security, who are talking about the security plans for either the wedding or, like, a breakfast or something they're holding the next day. And he's just being like, oh, yeah, whatever, I don't give a shit. And then he gets all disrespectful to Jaime and calling him out on, like, the Kingslayer was the only thing he has written down, and just fuck you. Just like, Joffrey, what have you ever fucking done in your life? Hid in the castle while the castle was raided? Oh, your accomplishments. So after embarrassing Jaime for his lack of accomplishments, that was enough of you for one episode, Joffrey. Like, that's all we needed. So then we get to go back to Dany, which is awesome after seeing Joffrey, because no one likes him. So we get to go Danny, who's talking to her translator about the people of Marine and about all the slaves that have died there and stuff, and basically she's gonna fucking go and release them all, obviously, because she's like this slave-freeing queen at this point, or Khaleesi. But then Dario meanders up and he's all like, oh, look at my flowers and shit. And Danny's kind of like, okay, I didn't say you were forgiven, what are you doing here? And then he tells her the stuff about the fucking flowers and how it could be a good strategy to win over the people. And then you catch Danny having this, like, goofy ass, like, smile. Like, oh, he's a pretty boy smile. Like, I don't like you, Dario. Get away from Danny. Trying to fucking charm your way back into her good graces. You get to the fucking back of the line. And then the march suddenly stops and Danny goes to the front of the crowd. And there's a girl, like a little girl too, like I think she might have been like between 10 and 12 or something, basically practically crucified and pointing the way to Marine. And then Danny asks basically like, how many more are there? And there's one for every mile, 163 like children strung up on the way to Marine. Like, you fucking savages. Like, that's disgusting. Not to mention, like, children? You couldn't have put, like, rapists up there or something? Like, people who deserve it? Ah, stupid. But anyway, so then Danny basically says instead of them removing them, she wants to see every one of their faces, because basically the faces of these children is going to spur her on to take over Marine with even more brutal force and destroy the slave keepers. You guys better fucking watch out. So then we get to jump back to Sansa, who's not praying, but hanging out by the water where no one will bother her. And then we have a little conversation between Brienne and Jaime, who basically Brienne wants her to keep her promise to Catelyn. Like, Catelyn went through all this fucking bullshit to let him free, and then ends up dying. Like, the least you can do is send the daughters back to somewhere safe. And then Jaime's making the point, like, well, I don't think she's much safer out there, like, and then Brienne's like, really? Like, and she's safe in King's Landing? And he's kind of like, yeah, like. And then he makes this amusing comment about how Brienne is like a Lannister, has the hair and everything, but not the looks. Like, she's nothing like a Lannister. And then Sansa's walking back up the hill, all merry and stuff, and then she realizes someone's following her, but luckily it just turns out to be the fucking fool from that she saved earlier. And it's so cute though, because he's so like contrite and he just wants to thank her, and he gives her the only thing he has, like this necklace, and he gives it to her, and she just doesn't want to take it because it's the last thing he has, but he's not letting her leave without it, pretty much. And it's just so cute, and I love Sansa. Like, I really hope she gets out of this mess soon. It's not fair. Okay, and then we have one of my favorite scenes of the episode, when we finally get to the Hound and Arya, who are, you know, traveling around the woods, and Arya's complaining about wanting her own horse and stuff, and then the Hound's like, oh, I don't want you running off, and Arya's like, where the freaking hell would I go? Really? Really? Where would I go? My mother's dead, my brother's dead, my family is basically gone. Where do you expect me to go? And it's pretty much like, yeah, good fucking point. But they basically stumble upon this shitty little house or thing or something. I think it's kind of like an inn, but anyway. And there's like 5 guys there, and the Hound's like, well, I don't want to fucking fight them on no food. And then they see that one of the guys is the guy who killed Lainey and who, like, took them captive and took them to Harrenhal. And so Arya's like, that's my fucking sword. I want that. And she, like, goes down and basically gets them in trouble, as per the Arya way. It sounded like the Hound was previously planning on bringing Arya to the Vale, but I don't really know if that's gonna happen anymore. They're, like, a pretty good team. So they end up going into the building there and have to deal with that stupid asshole. And basically they all end up getting their asses kicked, and Arya helps. She kills a guy and even helps the Hound. And basically the Hound ends up on the ground at this one point, and you're just like, really? You still think you can beat him? Like, you're gonna get fucking owned. Like, are you serious? Like, do you see the size of that man? do you see? Like, but anyway, they end up saving the innkeeper or the man or whatever who owns the place and his daughter, so I really liked that because they were gonna like rape her and not fucking cool. So basically they completely badass their way out of this mess in like the best moment of the episode when Arya gets to stand over the guy with Needle and she's reciting exactly the things that he said to her or to Lainey there. Like, she's got a freaking good memory, but she like recites all that and you can tell just before she kills him, like, he remembers her just in that moment and then she fucking kills him. And then they get to go on their merry way. So Arya gets her revenge and a horse, and they both get full bellies, which is lovely, and they all, go off into the lovely sunset, which is actually the burning remains of the North. God, the North has been ruined. Phew, so that was a good episode. It was very nice catching up with all the characters mostly, except for the others, which we're going to recount next episode anyway. But it was nice catching up, and they always leave us wanting so much more. Then there wasn't a scene from the next episode that I got to watch, but there probably is one on YouTube now. But I was kind of looking vaguely what the next episode was about. We can get to see what the hell poor Theon has been going through, what Ramsay's been doing to him. Then we get to see what the hell Bran's been up to in the North with, him and friends and Hodor and stuff, so that's gotta be interesting. Then we get to see how the Stannis is faring and all his friends, and Sir Davos and stuff, and Melisandre. But then we also get some more Lannister fun, so I personally can't wait for the next episode. Wow, I hate waiting a week. So holy crap, that was a lot of talking for not having done a video in a while. It was like 6 pages or so of okay, it was more than 6. It was like 10 pages of notes for that one episode. I actually ended up getting to write my review yesterday, watching it at work. Don't judge me. But anyway, so you kind of got my feels for the episode throughout there, with all the, swearing and expletives, so I really hope you guys liked the episode as much as I did. I did not record a season premiere, reaction video because I didn't feel like it was going to be, super crazy. So this season, if you know, don't tell me what's going to happen, but if you know the next episode is going to be fucking crazy and you want to see my reactions to it, let me know in the comments so I can actually record that shit, because or else I'm not going to know. Except for, the season finale, but that's like a million episodes away, unfortunately. But anyway, this episode, video, whatever, has gotten way too goddamn long now, so I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, so catch me up on your lives. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Anything to more views, the better. So, I hope you guys liked this video. And thanks so much for all the support. We're up to about 237 subscribers now, I think. Not really sure when that happened, but pretty sweet. So if you guys want me to do something special for the 200 subscribers I got, or maybe wait till 300, let me know what you want me to do. Maybe some special Game of Thrones thing or whatever the fuck. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great week. I will see you in a week from today. So, thanks for watching. My name is Catherine Bogle, and have a good one.